This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. Most any contemporary musical style can trace its roots back to the blues. Time Signatures explores the blues and its musical connections with captivating interviews, lively discussions, and news from the world of the blues.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you might be. Glad to have you with Time Signatures with Jim Ervin and Dedalian. How are you today?
I'm doing good, man. Good to be a part of this once again. What is this? Number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know because we don't know when they're all playing. Because
we're just spitting them out. That's what we're doing.
Is that what it is?
We're
Okay.
kicking them out, and we're just laying them down.
Number them later.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's the way we roll.
Well, we are really glad to be here today. We are actually coming to you from in studio this time as opposed to on location. And my very special guests are two more members of the greater Lansing area blues royalty, Mike Skory, Skory Auto Sounds, and Jim Alfredson. Welcome aboard, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Glad to have you both here. And we've got a lot of really cool stuff to talk about because both of you were very integral in the growth and the beginnings of what I like to call the blues movement in the greater Lansing area, going back nearly 40 years, I would imagine, somewhere in there.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, just if you need to make things up as you go along, you're allowed to do that.
That's what I'm best at.
We talked about that before we started this. But Mike, I want to start with you, man, because when I talked with Freddie and James, your name came up a lot. Of course, Jim's came up a lot. But I would like you to kind of go back and tell the story, that initial contact with Freddie when you decided to get things going with the Downtown Band, or was it Downtown Blues Band?
Downtown Blues Band.
Yep,
Yes.
and which ultimately became the Root Doctor Band. But talk about that story and how that started.
Okay, I hope it matches with Fred's.
I will make sure that it either does or
It's
doesn't.
like going to the police station. Okay, so I was one of the many times that I was out of music, never going to play again. That's it, I'm done. And Scott Allman called me up on the phone one day, and I kind of knew Scott a little bit. I knew him because they had this deal where they had this company where they would get people to donate their records. And then they would have sales like once every couple of months over at East Lansing. The Vinyl Crisis Society.
I remember
that's
that.
That's right. The Vinyl Crisis. So that's how I knew him. I thought, man, that's cool. Everybody's giving him his stuff. So he calls me up. He goes, oh, look, we got a chance to get a gig. I go, oh, well, look, I'm not playing again. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So he said, you got to go down to Tango's, the old Knapp's building, and you got to meet Fred. I go, I don't know who he is. He goes, you'll know him. So because I knew the Ides from... where everybody's Lebanese, so
Sure.
Everybody knows everybody. So I just went down there and I saw Fred, from the description, and one of the Ides came over and started asking us, now you guys, you've played a lot, you guys been around? Oh yeah. we played, but there was no, you couldn't Google anything. It was just whatever we said. So we got the job and that was it. Every Saturday. I got to believe that went for a year and a half. And so we got the job. And even then, I kind of didn't want to do it because I didn't have any equipment. So I had to go out and buy some equipment. That's what happened to my other equipment is another thing that'll make me cry. This is bad what happened. But anyway, so Fred said, okay, I got a bass player, which was James. And Scott was in the band at the time, so let's put it together. We went through a couple drummers, and we ended up with Ork. What's Ork's first name? Ork.
Oh, jeez.
Ork. God, I'm just nuts. Anyway, Ork.
It's obviously what he's known as because that's the same thing Freddie said was Ork. Is it Ork?
Who was a bass player?
So I don't think he needs a first name. It's just that.
So, but he was a bass. I mean, that's his instrument, his bass. But he's just got it, and then he played the drum. I'll play the drums. I know how to do it. So he was the drummer, and then that was it. We started on that gig, and we had a blast.
Now, Jim, you came into the picture relatively early in the Root Doctor, did you not?
I guess it depends on what you mean by early. I would say probably middle, maybe.
Okay.
Because I came in like 1999.
There were 2 keyboards after I left.
Yeah.
Okay. So you started, then
then
Jim
it was
came in.
Fitzgerald's, right?
Fitzgerald and
then Decker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doug Decker.
Now, when you came on, Jim, I
Yeah.
was told that you weren't old enough to be in some of the places that you played in. Is that correct?
Barely. I was just turning. Well, the first time I played with him, I was just turning 21. But when I actually got the gig full time, I was 22 by that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And talk. I mean, this has got to be for you. I'm going back in time here. It had to have been an explosive time in your life. I mean, to be playing with a band of this caliber, which, I mean, by 99 they were pretty well on their way, were they not?
Yeah, they were, playing the best places and playing all the time and playing in different cities across Michigan and traveling, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. So it was a perfect fit. Now, what's funny, and I had to tell the story the other day because somebody asked me when I was out with Larry McRae this weekend. They're like, "How long you been playing with Larry?" I said, "Well, believe it or not, he asked me to join his band in 1999."
Really?
And I had just joined Root Doctor.
Wow.
Like 2 weeks before. So what happened is Decker went to Japan, Doug Decker, and he left me. I was his sub. He was going back and forth, so I would sub for him for a couple months, and he'd come back. And then I'd sub for him again, and then he'd come back, and then finally he left, and they're like, we're not hiring him again because this is too crazy to go back and forth. So you're the guy. I'm like, oh, okay. It was just kind of decided. And then I got his other band that he was playing with at the time, the Blue Avenue Delegates, that held court at the Green Door every Monday night for 25 years or something.
Wow.
And so I had those 2 bands, and I was, Larry calls me up, or his manager calls me up and offers me the gig, and I was like, I think I'm okay. And I turned it down, which is kind of funny.
But I mean, looking back, would you have changed your mind?
Well, I mean, looking
Honestly?
back, I met my wife at a Root Doctor gig,
There you go.
so it was meant to be. Can't argue with that, right?
No, absolutely. I mean,
it just reminded me that the Blue Avenue Delegates, I did that for a year.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Kind of serendipitous, though, getting into the music and meeting your future wife.
Well, it was great because with the Delegates, anyways, they never rehearsed ever because they've been playing this stuff for 20 years. And Jerry Glasswell was the guitar player, brilliant guitar player we lost quite a while ago. And he would just turn to me and yell out the changes. And if I wasn't playing the part right, he would play the part on guitar, a keyboard part on guitar.
Wow.
Play this. And I'd copy him. And he's like, good. And then after the gig, he'd be like, you did great. Go listen to this tune. Go listen to this tune.
What year was that?
That was starting in 99 up until they.
Oh, when I was in it, it was way earlier than that then.
Did they rehearse?
Yeah, we were supposed to rehearse every Monday. That was a problem because we were supposed to rehearse every Monday at the bar.
Yeah.
And I had just, we adopted a daughter and she was a baby. So I had to bring her in the,
Oh my gosh.
in the little, little basket.
Oh, wow.
And I would go there. And
You raised her up right.
We made a lot of jokes about that too. You were raised in the bar. And so I would get there, and like Jim was saying, it was a pretty relaxed situation. So if they called the rehearsal for 2, the guys might get there by 3:15, and I'm like looking at my watch. Look, I gotta go. I can't stay home. So that was a bone of contention. I said after about a month of that, I said I'm not practicing anymore. So that ended the rehearsals. Maybe I killed it. I don't know.
I think by the time I got in, they'd been playing the same set for so long. It was just like. But yeah, to get back to your point, I mean, meeting my wife on a Root Doctor gig, again, it was obviously meant to be.
Absolutely.
And now that I'm older, Larry's older, he's more established, now playing with him, it just fits, I think, better. At that time of my life, it was definitely the right move.
See, you're pulling me right into this, and it makes me want to talk about it. So let's spring into Larry a little bit because I've been following Larry quite a bit. He actually came and did a couple of fundraisers at Urban Beat for the Ukrainian situation.
Yep.
And Larry's just one of the most personable people you ever want to meet. But it is so cool to see Larry play and come into town. And this particular time, it was the McRae brothers. It wasn't just Larry. And Mike Lynch was on keyboards for him. And Mike was just going gaga. He was so excited because he hadn't played with the McRae brothers since pre-COVID. Mm-hmm. So like you, I can't remember who it was you were telling. It was talked you through the key changes and things like that.
Yeah.
Larry was doing the same thing with Mike.
Yeah.
During sound check and rehearsal.
Yep.
Starting the program, and it was just there's something about the music scene in the greater Lansing area. Y'all just kind of mix together, and keyboard players end up in 3, 4, 5 different places, and guitar players, the same thing. And it's, to me, I think it's a wonderful thing that you guys are, there's a big familial group here. It's very much like family.
For sure.
And I love to see that, because you guys just have like instant chemistry when you get together to play, because you've done it before.
Not only that, it's like you said, it's a big family. So we're just up there having fun. Nobody's trying to cut anyone, We're not trying to show all our greatest licks or anything like that. We're just playing music together.
Just having fun.
Yeah.
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 And that was the most fun about that day, is watching Mike just jamming away. I got pictures of him playing the keys that day, and he was just leaning back, just rocking with it, and having a great time. And it was to me, it was probably one of my happiest moments watching these guys play together, because I'd never seen the McRae brothers play together either. Mm-hmm. So it was a big thrill for me.
Yeah.
But going back several years, I'm going to ask both of you this question. Mike, I'll start with you. Talk about how you got into music. What led you there? What kept you there?
I was terrible at sports, so it was only, I didn't have any alternative. I mean, it's big too. In high school, I was kind of big. I was big like I am now, but I was terrible. So I did try. The football coach could not give up. Kept sending me back to the gym. So I looked good. I was looking good, but terrible. So, and I don't know what got me going. The kids, everybody was getting in a band. I mean, that was just kind of the thing you do. You got to remember, I graduated in 71. So
sure,
probably first band was maybe 9th grade. Mm. And, it wasn't even, can I play good? It wasn't nothing. Can we find 3 or 4 or 5 people to show up? And the music was different then, because it would just be, if you were lucky, there was one guy that could kind of sing. Nobody wanted to sing. And me and Jim have talked about our dads so much. And one of the things I remember is I didn't have an amp. I didn't really have a keyboard, but I did odd jobs, and I got a Honer pianette, I think it was called. And then my dad said, "Oh, well, I'll make you an amp. We'll make an amp together." So he got a Bogan PA that he got from, I don't know where he got it, I don't know where, Volunteers or something. And we got that fixed up, and then he helped me cut out a speaker out of wood. We made it, and we had a whole bunch of TV 8-inch speakers. He goes, "I got a bunch of speakers in the show."
My God.
So we put it.
That's awesome.
I said, "I'm ready to rock." So we got bands. Nobody ever played any jobs, maybe 2 a winter, at maybe somebody's party in the basement. So that's how we got going.
I have to throw this in here because you talked about high school, and my biggest memory of high school, and no, I didn't get to go to the concert, and damn it, I wish I had. We had Bob Seger come and play at Bay City Central in Bay City. That's where I'm from. And this little unknown band opened for him that day. And we've got pictures of it in the whole 9 yards. It was Van Halen.
Oh, nice.
Before they were anybody.
Wow.
They opened for Seger here in Michigan. So it was really a cool thing.
One more thing about growing up, and something I don't think about enough, is when we were about that age, I don't know, maybe 10th grade, and they used to have concerts at the old Everett field, the old Everett school. And one of the bands was Brownsville Station, but to us, they were gods. I mean, they were the Beatles to us. And they got done playing, and we were such huge fans. We were just like little puppies looking at them. And the bass player came over, and Cubby both, they came over and started talking to us. We're like shaking. And finally Cub goes, "What are you guys doing? You got a band?" Yeah, we got a band. What kind of music you like? "Well, we like this and we like that and the other thing. And all right, keep practicing. And then the bass player came over. Yeah, you got to keep practicing. You got a metronome. You got to keep practicing. They were so sweet, you know.
Yeah.
Just a throwaway minute for them. They had to pack up their own gear. But, man, I don't remember to do that enough for the kids.
Yeah.
And you know, when Larry was in town the last time, I brought my son out because I've always wanted my son to hear him play. And my son, he's going to be 21 here in July, going to be a dad in September. So I'm excited about that. But I brought him with me. And went up there and introduced him. And, of course, my son plays a little guitar. And Larry looked at him. He says, man, he said, you play guitar, I heard. He says, yeah, a little bit. And he said, well, play for yourself. When you're ready to share with the world, he said, then you share with the world. He said, but in the meantime, if I'm in the area and you ever want to pick some strings, look me up.
Wow.
And I mean, that's the kind of stuff
That's
that I
it,
love
right
about
there.
this, about the blues and about the people in the greater Lansing area. You know, and of course, Larry, he might as well live here. He spent so much time down here. But that's what I love about the people that are in the music business in this area right now is everybody is like that. They're all very personal. Mm-hmm. So, Jim, your turn, man. Talk about how you got involved with music. What turned you on?
My father was a musician.
Okay.
He played guitar mostly. He also played a little bit of Hammond organ. I had a B3 in the house when I was a kid. I think he sold it when I was like 4 or 5. But I do remember it.
Were you mad at him?
I was. I actually didn't forgive him until he got me another one. But he tried hard to make a living as a musician. He actually lived out in San Francisco for a while. And when my grandmother passed away a few years ago, his mother, she actually had his receipts from the gigs that he played.
Wow.
And it was fascinating to go through those and see how much bands were getting paid back then. Just not even famous bands, just playing restaurants and clubs and stuff. He was making like $67 a night in 1965, 66.
That's good money back then.
That's good money.
Yeah.
Holy moly. Anyway, he came back home, got married, started having kids, and got into the piano tuning business. And, stopped playing gigs. But we had so much gear at home. We had drum set and bass guitar and guitars and keyboards and pianos because he was fixing pianos. And I just fell into it. Especially with the organ, and once we started getting synthesizers, I really got excited about the potential of that type of sound. And then his record collection was so eclectic. He had everything from classical music to jazz to blues to classic rock, of course, and prog rock, and I mean, a little bit of everything, country, western, I mean, just everything. So I just dig through the record collection and be like, oh, what's this? This looks interesting. Put it on, get my mind blown. Go to the next one, something completely different, Marvin Gaye to Pink Floyd to Jimmy Reed to, Vangelis. I mean, just everything. And of all my siblings, I have 5 sisters and a brother. Of all my siblings, they all are musical. They all played instruments for a while, but I was the only one to really get hooked on it and just do it full time. So started gigging when I was probably 14, playing beer tents in Mason, Michigan. Getting into not me, but seeing fights break out between the hillbillies and Mason. I shouldn't say that.
That's where I live.
All right, there's an edit.
Yeah, there's an edit.
Fights were they're common.
Well, the fights there were fights in these beer tents, but they were usually musically related. You'd have the Seeger camp on one side and the Leonard Skinner camp on the other side. They start yelling at us, and it was a country band, so I mean these were rowdy folks. And then, I didn't really get a full-time gig until I joined Root Doctor, and then that was like the full-time every weekend, playing somewhere else. It was great.
We should probably clarify that you're one of the hillbillies, right?
Oh, I'm from Mason, so
Yeah.
I can say
Are you
that.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I didn't do my homework entirely.
Yeah.
I missed part.
I
of it.
only know because I'm from Mason. so-
Yeah. I went to school with his brother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Small world.
It is.
Yeah.
We
It's kind of like
we
the
actually
bands.
met. You probably don't even remember.
I remember
Yeah, that wedding.
my sister's wedding. Yeah.
Oh, was it your sister's?
Yeah.
I didn't know whose wedding it was.
Yeah.
We were playing the wedding, and these guys wanted, this guy wants a jam. We kind of knew your dad.
Yep.
And then you got up and played there, and I don't know what I had, but whatever it was, you made it sound good. And
So there you go. Extra small world.
Yeah.
we're going like, "Phew, all right, let's get out of it. Get this set rolling now. No, it sounds great. Keep going.
You're at the bar. Keep going, kid.
Keep going.
So I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. I'm dying to talk about what you guys are doing now. Jim, like I said, I've been following you, but you've been busy for the last few months, haven't you?
Yeah. After the pandemic, things were kind of slow to get going again, but now I'm at the point where I need to shift my focus and figure out exactly what I want to do, because both Mike and I have gotten into the repair business, which is a lot of fun. I've always been interested in electronics since I was a kid. And so during the pandemic, when I didn't have a gig, I started repairing vintage synthesizers and stuff. And it's been really rewarding and fun, and I really love it.
I can imagine bringing that stuff back to life.
Yeah. And, I've been a road musician for a long time, and it has its pluses and minuses. The pluses, of course, are getting to see new places and meet new people and play the music. The minuses are the travel and the dealing with all that and stuff. And so I'm kind of trying to figure out exactly where I want to go. But I've been on the hunt for. I mean, the Larry gig is great. I absolutely love it. I want to do that as much as I can. But some of the other stuff that pull me in different directions, I'm trying to figure out.
And I got to see that because you weren't on the cruise with those guys.
Right.
You were somewhere else.
I was on a family vacation in Belgium.
Yeah.
And of course, family comes first. There were so many birthdays and anniversaries and all sorts of stuff I missed, especially when my kids were little, because I was on the road. I joined a singer out of LA named Janova Magnus in 2010.
Okay.
And we were doing 200 and 250 shows a year.
Wow.
And sometimes I would be out for 6 weeks, home for a week, out for another 6 weeks, home for a week. It was just insane. And my kids were little. My youngest was not even 2 years old at the time.
I drove truck for a while. I understand.
Yeah, it was hard.
Did you end up getting to record with her at all?
I did a couple of records with her, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It was great.
She's one of my favorites.
It was a great experience. I eventually left because of that pull from home. My kids needed me. My eldest daughter especially was really acting out at the time, and we couldn't figure it out. And then I finally talked to her, and it became obvious it was because she missed me and I wasn't home. So I'm like, okay, time to come home.
Yeah, it's got to be tough.
Yeah.
Being out on the road all the time and not getting to be with your family
as
much as you'd like.
Yeah.
You're listening to Time Signatures. Glad to have you along. I'm Jim Ervin. Got Dedalian Lowry over here. Our special guest today, Mike Skory, Jim Alfredson. And we were just having all kinds of fun talking about music and the blues and the greater Lansing area, the early days. And to me, there's always something that draws you back especially when you leave, and you come back to the greater Lansing area and you find out that there's a band around that you haven't seen in forever. I'm trying to remember the name of the band right now that Mike Lynch plays with that hadn't been around for a while. I don't even want to say it. The Lash.
The Lash,
yeah.
Celtic band, yeah.
Everybody was talking about the Lash, and on St. Patrick's Day, I was invited to go out to Gravity because I had never heard of the Lash, and man, they blew my mind. Mm-hmm. It wasn't blues; it was something different, but I mean, it was a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I didn't want to skip over you. What's new and exciting in your world? What are you doing these days?
Well, as Jim said, we both got into the electronic repair business, so I have a shop set up at a local music store called Music Manor, keyboards, and give myself a plug, I guess. Guitar amps. Sometimes if the guys can't figure out a guitar, the guitars with a lot of electronics in them, I'll do that, but I'm not a guitar repair guy. So I really like that. Actually, you guys have caught me in another cycle where I hit the wall this fall, and I'm just kind of retired from playing. I mean, I'll do like one a month. So
I got to see you. Was it Blues Brawl or Breaking Bread or something like that?
Yeah,
you came out and you played for a while.
Yeah.
That's the first time I'd seen you play, and I thought, man, you just letting it flow, just having a good time.
Well, it was fun. Even though I played a lot, I hadn't played with a band in a number of years. The pandemic sort of switched things around.
Yeah.
And you're at home sitting around. So I just started learning songs. I was like, I can sing this. I can sing this. I changed the key. I can sing this. I learned 200 or 300 songs. And by June, people were calling me up. Hey, can you do a solo over here? Can you do a solo over here? He goes, how many? You can't fit 25 people in the bar. Well, that's okay. So I kept getting calls. I probably did 80 jobs the pandemic year.
Wow.
And sometimes it was clandestine. It was like, okay, my cottage is up north of Ionia. Can you come up there? Well, how much is it? Okay, I'll be there. And, and it just, so I started doing it, and then it just kept going. And so then I booked more, and pretty soon it's 2 nights a week, 3 nights a week. And that went real strong. And so you caught me playing with a great band. So yes, I was in bliss because I didn't have to, I just rode the wave. I could just play. But now I'm not playing but once a month. I'm really interested in this repair job I got going. I'm taking this opportunity to try to get better at it.
Well, and it's kind of fun because, I mean, for those folks that follow you guys on social media, I love seeing the stories. The story that I saw today from Jim when he was working on a piano that somebody
I got to find that. Yeah.
and my heart just broke for the people that bought it. But I mean, seeing the process, and you were working on it. Was it a microphone last night?
Yeah. Yep.
And rewiring, and it's, to me, that's fun because you're bringing stuff back to life that that otherwise isn't going to be usable.
Fun. It's music from the other angle, from me.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. And I lucked out that my dad got into the tuning thing because he taught me how to do it as well. And so it served me through the low times, during the last recession, 2007, 2008, and then the pandemic. I was still tuning pianos because everybody was stuck at home. And then they realized, oh, my piano needs tuned.
It's out of tune. I haven't played in ages.
So I just mask up. I'd ask them to mask up, and when I go over there and tune their piano, I was busy as all get out. Tuning pianos during the pandemic was great.
Yep. People are at home looking around.
I guess I'll plunk on this thing.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank both of you for being here for this episode. We are hopefully going to be able to get another one in before we get done and send you on your way. But we definitely appreciate having both of you in today and being part of the program. It's some of the stories. I'm sure we've got more stories to cover and talk about in the future. And Mike's over here making a face, so we'll see how far we get. Is this a show
for kids or for adults?
Well, maybe big kids.
Oh, okay.
But as I said, we want to thank you for being here today, and we definitely look forward to having you and maybe come back again and do another episode or 2 or 3 or 4 and share some more stories. What do you think?
You bet. This was really fun.
Yeah, sounds
Taking
great.
a minute and thinking over the past 40, 50 years,
Absolutely.
It's really fun.
Well, we're gonna have more. I guarantee you we will have more. So until next time, we appreciate you being here. Thanks so much, and we will see you on the next edition of Time Signatures.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.